Okay, chemistry, we're going to start the homework that goes after the notes. You only have one homework problem to go with these notes. So I'm going to start it with you together, and then you're going to finish it for homework. So it says solid aluminum metal reacts with chlorine gas. All right, the first thing we have to do is write the equation. Aluminum, and it's a solid, reacts with chlorine gas. Chlorine is one of those diatomic elements, so it has to have a 2 there. And to produce aluminum chloride crystals. So we have to decide what aluminum chloride looks like. Here's aluminum, here's chloride. You're going to look on your periodic table, and aluminum has a +3, chloride has a -1. We're going to do this, and aluminum chloride becomes that. And it says they're crystals, so they are solid. Okay, there's our equation. Is it balanced? No, it isn't. So we have to balance it. We got 3 chlorine over here and 2 chlorine here. So that means we're going to have to put a 3 here and a 2 here. Now we have 6 chlorine on each side of the arrow, but we have 2 aluminum here, and so we're going to have to put a 2 there to make it balanced. Now we're going to make, so let's see, it says how many grams of aluminum chloride will be produced if the reaction begins with 135.0 grams of aluminum and 475.0 grams of chlorine gas. All right, so let me write that a little better. It looks like a D. So that's what we're given, but we want to find out how many grams of aluminum chloride right here are produced, but we can't do that until we know if we're going to use this much of aluminum or this much of chlorine gas. And to do that, we have to find the limiting reactant. Okay, so look at the question. It says, write the balanced equation. We did that. I did that for you. Determine the limiting reactant and determine how much excess reactant will be left over. So we have to do 3 things. We have to say we have 135.0 grams of aluminum. That's what we're starting with. And we have 475 grams of chlorine gas. Those are the 2 things that we have. We have to change this aluminum. If we have 135 grams of aluminum, how many grams of chlorine gas do we need? That's what we're doing in this first equation. And the second one, we have this much of 475 grams of chlorine gas. How many grams of aluminum do we need if we have that? So we're going to set this up. I'm going to set up the first one for you. Grams of aluminum, that means grams of aluminum has to go down here. First thing you always do is change it to moles. Moles of aluminum means moles of aluminum go down here. After we change the grams of aluminum to moles of aluminum, we're going to change it to moles of chlorine gas. Moles of chlorine gas has to go down here. And we're looking for grams of chlorine gas. So this cancels with that cancels with that cancels with that, and this is what we're looking for. Where are you going to find the numbers that go here in this first equation? Well, a 1 always goes with the moles when it's moles to grams or grams to moles. Where do you find the number on the bottom? This comes from the periodic table. Where do these numbers come from? They come from the balanced equation up there. They're the coefficients of the balanced equation. I'll do this first one for you. Chlorine has a 3. Aluminum has a 2. That's where those come from. And this last one, when it's grams to moles or moles to gram, the 1 goes with the moles, and this comes from the periodic table. When you find that from the periodic table, this is what you have. You're going to get what you need at the end. You're going to do the same thing down here, except now you're starting with chlorine, and you're starting with 475. And you're going to change it. We're going to put grams of chlorine gas down here to change it to moles. This is from the periodic table. Find that number. Then we put moles of chlorine gas and moles of aluminum. These numbers come from the balanced equation. And then moles of aluminum to grams of aluminum. This comes from the periodic table. And you're going to have what you need of aluminum. And here, up here, you had what you need of chlorine. So then you're going to say what you need of chlorine and what you have. What you need of aluminum and what you have. And then you're going to decide which one is the limiting reactant. Okay. Once you decide the limiting reactant, you're going to take that one. If it's aluminum, you're going to use 135. If it's chlorine gas, you're going to use 475. Whichever one is the limiting, you're going to start with and find out how many grams of aluminum chloride it makes. And then you're going to find the excess. So that's what you have to find for this homework. You have to finish those equations that I did, find the limiting reactant. Then you're going to use the limiting reactant to find how much aluminum chloride is produced in grams. So you're going to change it to grams. And then you're going to find the excess reactant. Okay, so here's the limiting reactant, here's the other one, the excess reactant, and find how much excess there is. So that's what you're going to do to finish this homework.